You can be reminded to back up QuickBooks when you close out of it, or you can set a schedule for your backups. But to set either of these options, you first have to initiate a single backup. To do that, select File from the top menu, hover your mouse over Backup Company, and choose Create Local Backup. You could select an online backup from here, but it does require a monthly fee from Intuit, the makers of QuickBooks. So we're going to keep Local Backup selected, which gives us the option to save our backup file to a place like a CD or USB flash drive or a network. In this case, I have an external drive that I have attached to the computer. From here, click Options. We can change some more settings. The first thing we need to tell QuickBooks is where we want to save our backup file. You don't want to save it on the computer itself. An external CD or USB drive is best if you can't save it to a network location. You don't want your backup company on the same computer because if something happens to your computer, you lose both your QuickBooks file and your backup. I'll click Browse, and now I can scroll down and choose my external drive. I'll click OK, and my backup can be created. I do want to add the date and time to my backup file, so I'll leave that checked. I can also choose how many backup copies I want to create. I'll leave it at the default of 3, meaning that QuickBooks will keep the last 3 copies of my QuickBooks backup file on that drive. I can also be reminded to back up every certain amount of times that I close out of QuickBooks. I'll leave the verification option intact so I can be sure I have a good, solid, intact backup. And now I'll click the blue OK button. I'll click Next, and I can decide if I want to save my backup copy now or if I want to save it and schedule future backups. If I'm scheduling future backups, I do need to make sure that I have that external drive always attached to my computer so that it can back up the QuickBooks file there. I will select Save It Now and Schedule Future Backups. This is good if you have QuickBooks open all the time and you're not sure how often you'll be closing it. I'll click Next. In this case, however, I'll click New to create a new backup schedule. I can type the description of it, and I can also choose a location. I'll click Browse. Here's where you could choose a different location if it's not ideal to have that external drive on the back of your computer every time. For example, I could choose a network location. I'll keep my storage drive and click OK. I'm going to have it run at 1 o'clock every morning because I do leave my computer on. Here's where I can choose to run it on a certain amount of weeks or days. I'll leave it at the default of 1 week, and I could select to choose only 1 day or I could choose multiple days. I want it to back up every day, so I'll choose every day of the work week that I'm using QuickBooks. I'll click OK, and I do need to put in my Windows username and password. Once I do that, click OK, and here's my backup schedule. At any time, if I want to remove this, I can click on my scheduled backup and click Remove, or I can edit it if I need to make any changes. It's very important to make sure your backups are indeed running. From here, I'll click Finish. The backup has been scheduled. And now, the backup that we asked to run immediately is going to run. And in just a few minutes, it will finish, and I'll show you how to restore the file. Now we can see the backup's been created. It's telling me where it saved the backup copy and also the file name. It's important to note that the file name contains the date and the extension .qbb. This stands for QuickBooks Backup File. I'll click the OK button, and now we can get back to work. But let's go over how to restore a file. Click File, choose Open or Restore Company, and then choose Restore a Backup Copy. Click the blue Next button. I'm going to restore from a local backup, so I'll leave that selected and click Next. You'll notice that it's going to save it as type QBW. This is a standard QuickBooks file that's different from a backup file. So I'll click Save, and soon I'll be ready to get back to work with my recently restored file.